You know, it's pretty cool being born a human, isn't it? We get to experience so many amazing moments in our life. Well, many of us are fortunate enough to. We have this amazing opportunity as humans to lead an exceptional life. I mean, just think about it. If you weren't born a human, how bad it could possibly be. And I know not all humans have the rub of the green, shall we say, and they don't have a great life, but for the vast majority for us, you know, thankfully we have an amazing time in the short time that we're here. I can't think of anything cooler in the world than being a human. Maybe possibly one exception, the fish eagle, flying to work and back every day and catching fish and making baby fish eagles. It sounds pretty good to me, but how about you? I'm quite happy to settle for being a human. Many of us, and me included with this, we're quite comfy in our own skin and our own company. But for me, it's double the fun if I get to experience all these fantastic things in life if I'm with someone that I dearly love. And of course that's Toon. Double the fun, treble the fun, 10 times the fun, sharing it with someone that you love. There's plenty of people out there that will tell you you shouldn't put all your eggs in one basket and just spend your whole life with one person. A lot of people will think that. Some people will say it. Some of them may even say it to your face. And that's alright, because we're all different, aren't we? But for me, definitely. Me and Toon have been in each other's pockets for 18 years. And we wouldn't have it any other way. But of course, as often is the case in our lives, there is a negative to it. And I don't mean I miss going down the boozer with the lads and watching the football. Toon used to go with me quite often, and we'd meet up with my sister and my brother-in-law, watch Super Sunday, 3 football matches, one after the next, and have a roast dinner and a good laugh. I mean, well, what's happened to us recently, something totally out of the blue. And your wingman, so to speak, your right hand man, your soulmate, your other half, the missus, the old ball and chain, they're out of the equation all of a sudden. I don't mean that they've left you. No, that can happen. Often a blessing in disguise, that one. Alright, to give you a bit of an account what's been going on here. And we had date night coming up. Been looking forward to it for quite a while, as we often do. We try to get out once a month. It's not really possible to go out much more than that unless we have farm stay guests. And whenever Toon and I are lucky enough to get out off the farm for an evening, we of course have to sort the goats out first. So we're putting them away, and Toon was making a little fire for them, keep them warm, keep the mosquitoes off them. And she complained of abdominal pains. She has had plenty of pains down there before, won't go into that, but it was a slightly different pain, and it was getting worse and worse. And by the time we'd had a shower, and Nalud, our security guy, had got to the farm, it was so bad that we went straight down to the local clinic, and the doctor there, who works for the local hospital, took about 5 seconds examining her and said get straight down to A&E. So we shot off. we got a couple of sandwiches on the way for me and a packet of crisps, and because we thought it was going to be a long one, appendix. So we got there a couple of hours later on. She was being admitted. and I stayed there as long as I could, and Toon's nephew came out with his mate. Great help. He took me back. Toon wouldn't let me drive back in the dark. Hey, woo! Golden tinfoil barb, lovely. She does worry about me driving a bike on my own, so got back on the farm on my own for a night, not a problem to me. Next morning, had to get up super early, sort all the goats out, but it was then that it really hit me. Obviously I was concerned during the night, but in the morning, because we got all our routine that it's set in stone, things that we have to do in a particular order, and they take a set amount of time. There's no shortcuts. So quite often we're not actually working together, but we do overlap quite a bit. So as soon as I came out the front door, popped my flip-flops on. Of course there's Toon's flip-flops next to me. We're normally slipping us flip-flops on together, and off we go, we get into it. Making a brew just for yourself, that's weird. I'm always up before Toon. I think count on one hand in all the years we've been together that she's up first and makes a coffee. So rather than me making 2 coffees and sitting there and just gearing up for the day, well, the morning's chores that were ahead of us, made it and started straight away. Clearing the goat tables to lay the food on there, topping up the water, putting the food out that we'd got ready the day before. And of course that's just one goat house. We have 2 to sort out. And of course while you're doing this, the old grey matter's just thinking about your missus all the time. Little Java barbs, some people call them silver barbs. Not a giant, but beautiful. So yeah, the second goat house is a bit more of a drama in the mornings. Over 60 goats in there, a lot of them are big ones. So again, clear the table, put the food out, let them out, try not to get stampeded by them. Let all the nannies out with the kids that are in the separate birthing rooms. 2 Javas and a golden tinfoil. I'm stealing Toon's rod, you know. I can't be bothered to change the setup on mine. Just using pellets today. Not fishing pellets, it's pellets that we normally get from the local shop. We call it the stock shop. They've got all like farming stuff, and they've got fish pellets. People buy them for the catfish and tilapia and such like. Nothing fancy here. I've only thrown 1 ball of ground baiting so far. So yeah, flying around on a Ben-Hur chariot, gradually ticking off the jobs. Also the 2 guys, Nallur and Nallur, thank goodness Nallur is back at present, and we'd already got the boys on site a couple of days previously, fixing a load of the feeders, the birthing rooms, making a new tin table for the goat feed as well on the island. And yeah, so they were already briefed of the situation from the night before, because Nallur had come to, he was going to be our security man for the night for our date. So yeah, he looked a little bit worse for wear, a bit tired and a little bit tipsy, I might add, I think, by the time I got home at midnight. So yeah, the 2 guys knew what the score was and knew that I would be going back to the hospital to see Toon. So they brought a pack with them, packed lunch, and they just stayed on site doing their jobs as they would do normally. And once all the farm had dried out from it, we're getting quite a lot of dew at night now, although we're not getting particularly a lot of rain these days. we are getting plenty of dew. Never tin foil. These aren't growing very much though. Don't mind when they're that pretty though, does it? Let's throw some bait in, eh? See if we can get something that we need to get the landing net out for. Sloppy ram rice husk. There's a few pellets in there, very small pellets as well. Super wet. Give it a bit of a squeeze. Some of the pellets will stay in the ball, hit the bottom, and then some of them will be neutral buoyancy and some will come up to the top. So I like it that way. A lot of people don't, but it brings lots of different species into your swim. That's what it's all about. You don't want a 100-pound Mekong every chuck, do you? Want to be nice though. You do end up minging though. So I got all my chores done. The boys were into the swing of things. They'd let the goats out after I'd gone. And yeah, I was so nervous driving to the hospital. I'm not a nervous rider on a bike. I've had a motorbike for flipping years. Only fell off once. But yeah, when I find that when you're doing something in autopilot, so like you're riding a bike, although you're paying attention of course, your mind wanders, doesn't it? Sometimes it can take you some dark places when you start worrying. Give you a bit more of an insight why Toon and I were so worried. Was Toon's dad died from a burst appendix. Was not diagnosed in time. Yeah, that was very hard for Toon to take. So of course she was very concerned about that. So after doing lots of tests and speaking to the doctor, who said it was not conclusive, although they were fairly sure that it was appendix. Can't remember what, is it the same one? So they're going to keep her in overnight for observation. If it got worse, in all likelihood it would have been an operation pronto, ambulance job to the big hospital. If she didn't get worse, they would do more blood and pee tests in the morning and go from there. Toon had already given me a list of all the stuff that she wanted bringing, and I thought of a few other things as well. So my memory isn't as good as yours in all probability. So I popped it into my phone, managed to remember everything, and got a few other bits and bobs as well. And thought I'd get some brownie points. Dusted down my old rucksack that I used to use for my UK work trips before moving out here full time. That's seen better days, that has. It's full of flipping little lizard eggs. And off I went on the bike. So I got to the hospital, wasn't sure what to expect, whether the doctor had seen Toon, whether she'd had more tests or not. And I get in there, and of course you're on tender hooks until you get to the area that, oh, getting bigger, aren't they? Bit. As you walk into the ward, you're on tender hooks, aren't you? And there she was, laying up in bed, waving, little face beaming away. And get there, I was like, oh, alright, how you doing, love? So it's just a stream of expletives. Not had a wink of sleep, or she reckoned she'd had 5 minutes sleep before the nurses came around and did the rounds in the morning. So people snoring, farting, burping, noisy fan. She didn't have a fan until the nurses felt sorry for her and let her use theirs. And the nurses were saying it's such a run-down hospital that when stuff breaks, trying to get the funds, apply for the funds and get them to sort it out is there's a lot of things that are broken there. People sleeping under the beds. So before no one was allowed to stay overnight. Now in that ward, I think everyone apart from Toon that night and one of us, I think it was a ward of about 8, everyone had one family member and they were sleeping under the hospital bed on a little skinny mattress. Well, it's not a mattress, it's a bamboo mat. Ooh, hello. What's that? Oh, I might have fair looked it. Oh no, seen it gob. Check him out. Java about 6 ounces. Beautiful. Toon and I used to eat them that size if we caught them in the wild. They're not that big in the wild anymore around here. That's a monster. Tiddler for our lake. So we got to about 11 o'clock. They'd taken loads of blood. She'd had their PP test again as well. She was on the drip and she was just waiting to see the doctor, so she wasn't allowed to eat anything. She kept on moaning at me. She was like, what you eating, what you eating? I was like, nothing yet, I'm not, couldn't eat, no chance. I was surviving on coffee and right off an appetite. She was just like, oh, it's going to be ages, going to be ages. So she gave me my orders, like go over the road. It was a good little restaurant there. And we'll say restaurant, Thailand, and it's just a couple of tables and a woman frying something up. But it is good food. So just got up to go out and the doctor came the other way. And Toon quickly called me and was like, this is my doctor. Said I can go home. On the proviso, if these abdominal pains return, you call this number, it's an ambulance, they'll take you straight to the big hospital and it will be an operation. So that's it, she was happy. I was obviously happy, but I'd have preferred if they'd minute. I've stolen Toon's rod. I can't be bothered to set mine up again. She uses tiny little weights around the float. I use stops, but when it's strike, I'm so strong when I strike. These slide, keep on moving. There's not enough purchase on them, so I can't moan when I've stolen the wife's rod. I should stop being quite so enthusiastic about how I strike. I'm gonna hook my pellet a bit different. Bit more of the hook point poking through. Very soft pellets, it's like fishing paste really. I do love a bit of paste fishing. So no sooner had I unpacked the rucksack for Toon, I was packing it up again. Off we pootled. Before getting on the bike, of course she was starving, she hadn't eaten anything. She'd had a mouthful of rice soup which was gopping. So we went and ate. Okay.
So happy to eat food, not rice soup. It's proper.
She was happy as Larry, and then left half of it. Squid was a bit old. My Kamphaeng Phet was spot on though, as usual. Oh, that was a good one. Lovely drive home. The feeling was just, it's hard to describe really. You know, to get you to be back with your other half. You know, after all the worry. Yeah, we're still obviously worried that if it came back then we knew what lay ahead, but we're almost of the opinion that, well certainly Toon was, yeah, and we almost wanted it to come back, certainly while she was in hospital. And then they'd have to take it out, but it wasn't to be. But she'd got zero pain. Whether it's what they call in the UK grumbling appendix, we don't know. But now the beauty of it is Toon's fully aware of but the good thing is Toon knows what to look out for now, the old signs. I've got some wasp grubs, I'm going to try one of them. Dogtail, nicknamed Dogtail Dan. Dan's the little brown wasps that, I think they're paper wasps. So this is their nest, this is like a paper. And this particular wasp is a little bit smaller than the normal one. And then you've got the wolf Dan, which is the bloody big one. Alright, Gija. Pitch invasion. I should just peed next to the camera, it's nice. Don't hit the camera. Don't hit the camera. Yeah, so it's a bit small, so I've stuck 2 on there. Alright. Don't hit the camera. Throw yourself on the floor there then. Stop peeing. Jesus. Just flipping stole me wasps. Get out. I can't keep recording if you're going to hair all the time. Go on, jog on. The good thing now is Toon knows what the telltale signs are for this condition, and if it does return, then we're going to act quickly, and we've already pre-warned the people. So Nalur, Toon's mum obviously, and a nephew Lex. So hopefully if Lex around, then he can still go and get the food for the goats off farm. At the very worst, the 2 lads can let the goats out on the farm after they've checked for wild dogs, of course. It's so weird, the timing of things sometimes. You know, when you take your marriage vows, and you know, and you're basically pledging yourself to the other person. You know, sort of like, you know, I'm going to take care of you, going to do right by you. But it was only about 3 nights before, and Toon has been quite ill. I would say the last year or 2, worse than usual. And well, we both have, to be fair. And yeah, we're getting older, but it's not really down to that. Separate issues. And I've been getting this horrible feeling, and I'm not a negative person. I try to be glass half full, not empty. And do one. I've been thinking, I've never ever been so happy in my life. This is the happiest by far I've ever been. You know, and that's no mean feat at 52. There's a fair few miles on the clock there, so to be that happy consistently, it's well, I think we're going in the right direction, aren't we? And just think to myself, flipping 52. I know a lot of you guys are even older than I am. Some of you are ancient. I don't know about you, but I feel now, because I'm in my happy place, I can't imagine being any more happy. That's not true. If the price of goats goes up like it was pre-COVID, then I'll be euphoric. Euphoric. But even if that doesn't happen, you know, we're all right as far as money goes. Really, we can survive. We cut our cloth accordingly. Java Fest. Where's the big ones? So I've started getting this feeling. Like I said, I was like, do you know what? I'm just like, I'm where I want to be. I'm here with the person that I want to be with, and my dream, it sounds cheesy, doesn't it? My dream had come true. I think I touched on a video maybe about 8 months ago or so. I think I just briefly mentioned this dream. I'd always had this reoccurring dream quite erotic, of this dusky maiden, sort of like Amazonian, long dark hair, dark skin, and just always under this waterfall in like a tropical rainforest setting. And I got in the pool with her. Fantastic. I won't go into any more detail on that, but I must have had that exact same dream 50 times. And it wasn't until I met Toon, still didn't click, and we went to the waterfall. Now we have done a video where we took one of our farm stay guests, Jerry, to there, and we also took, my mum's been there a few times now, but the first time I went with Toon, still didn't clock in it, still didn't give me flashbacks or anything, but we went under the waterfall. This is when you were allowed to swim there. Went out there, flipping young silly kids, and Toon dived, and she's like a mermaid, and she come up and all the hair was wet and swept back, and I was just like, it's her in my dream. But I didn't say it out loud, not like now. And it was one of them moments I was just like, whoa, it's a bit weird, that one. And anyway, as things progressed and that, and Toon was just like, no intention of meeting anyone, never mind a Kamphaeng. Don't particularly like them anyway. And she was speaking to a monk one day. She was like, and he was sort of like giving her a brief of basically describing me, and that she was gonna choose to marry me. She was like totally adamant, not a chance. And then I turned up, both out of a rubbish relationship. That's not fair, really. Both out of failed relationships, and not looking for anyone, just out, getting drunk. She used to smoke a flipping box of cigarettes a day, and a bottle of whiskey here and there, and I was on the beer and going on lads' holidays, and yeah, some crazy times. And then we met each other, and it was like we had no choice. It was almost like, people say destiny, fate, don't they? Could have been just good luck, right place, right time. Who knows? Who can say, eh? And that was it. Just total whirlwind. Apart from quite a few teething problems in the early days. Of course, Toon had never been out of Thailand. You know, for her to up sticks, move away from the family and friends, and come and live with a strange guy with a strange family in a strange land. It's pretty daunting. She's worried I was going to sell her to someone or something. And so yeah, it was hard times, as it is for most people, getting to know each other and living together for the first time. So you throw into the mix, you know, also different country, different culture. It's let's say you could 3x it on the difficulty scale, but we got through it. And ever since then, ever since those early years, without any shadow of a doubt, our relationship and how we feel for each other is just intensified. I think that's the right word, intensified. It's almost suffocating, but in a good way. Well, that sounds a bit pervy, doesn't it? Yeah, in a good way. It's like an addiction. You know, the more you get, the more you want. And we're now at well, from what's happened recently, we're now in a situation where not being with each other is you can't hit a bite, Leigh. No, you can't get your head round. You know, it's almost like, I'm not going to say you can't breathe without that person, but it's almost like you can't function properly. You know, because you take everything for granted when you're together. It was only these last few days where I'm just like, do you know what? I'm getting a bit depressed because 10, maybe we get that. Probably not after all the rugby tours, cocktails and all that lot. Ridiculous state of affairs. Maybe 10. I'm lucky. Maybe longer. We eat very, very, very well, and we lead a healthy lifestyle. Yeah, it's hard, but you know, the amount of exercise we get being on a farmstead is just off the scale. Maybe too hard. So I'm thinking about it. Well, just about 20 years left of experience this. What? I just feel like I've only just got here. 6 years we've been on this land. It's just gone like that. And now I feel like I'm scrambling with time. I won't put the brakes on. What am I going to be like at 60? I'm going to be flipping demented, aren't I? Not as demented as missing all these bites. We've got what I think it is a shoal of Exposé. The last Mrs. Crabtree video that we published, the mark on it. Did that just move? Oh yeah, the Mark, our farm stay guest, another lamb to the slaughter in the Challenge Mrs. Crabtree fishing challenge series. He had by far and away more than enough bites to beat Toon. But no, a lot of the fish called Exposé, they're like a minnow species, and although they can grow, say, about that big, very, very small mouths. See, if I had my paste here, I'd do it. I'm going to fill them up, get the big ones in. Problem is making a splash. The dreaded Pacu might hear it. I don't want to hook them. I'll lose me up, and then I'm not going to, too late, I'm not going to go and tie another up. When I was on the match fishing scene, we used to call this filling it in. Fill the peg in. Where your fish called a peg. Some people call it a swim. Fill it in. It's like poo-poo or bust. You catch big or you catch nothing. Here, the more noise you make, and generally by throwing stuff in, the more fish come in. Big, small, everything, but hopefully if a load of small one comes in, they'll have the fill, and don't know. Oh, if I could get a catler. Do you know what, if Toon wasn't here with me, I wouldn't be here. Don't mean fishing here. It's just not being able to share it with your number one. Nah. It'd be different if we had kids. Never been lucky enough in that department together, and so that's always been, you know, something that we've had to deal with. Yeah, we could have looked at fostering. When we were in the UK, we did look into fostering, and we did think about adoption out here. And then Toon's younger sister, she, of course, she's had Kamphaeng Phet, so we pour all our parental efforts into little Kamphaeng Phet, who's an absolute star. Most of you know her. Who knows, one day this might get handed over to her, but you never know, do you? She's so young. She might get hacked off with Auntie Toon and Uncle Leigh. She might not like the farm anymore. Bebo's not going to be here forever, so at the moment she comes in best mates with Bebo. So yeah, we can't take that for granted. I mean, even if we were lucky enough to have kids of our own, you can't wait, I suppose you could force them into the farm life, give them no choice when they're younger, but there's a good chance that someone doesn't want to continue that farm life and lifestyle as they get older, and you can't force them then, can you? So yeah, what we're going to do in the future, we don't know. In an ideal world, Toon and I would take a back seat here and sit on the veranda with gin and tonics and let Kaimuk sort everything out. She's getting good at English. She should help take care of the guests. And yeah, we don't know. We don't know. When you think about it, it's like the perfect love story, isn't it? Oh no, it's all soppy, isn't it? But what love story isn't soppy? And if you're married, or you've been married, or you've been in a love story, or you still aren't you? So you're soppy as well. Just that some of us are more soppy than others. Some people that have visited us here on a farm stay. We had one gent, and you know who you are. I won't mention any names. Chris. As soon as he got here, one of the first things he said, after taking the pee out of me, giving him dodgy instructions for getting here, was like, I'm a little bit scared of your wife, mate. And rather than putting him at ease, I just said, yeah, you should be. She's worse than she is on the camera. But what some people find surprising is how much of a big heart Toon has got. Yeah, she's got this abrasive, quite robust aura about her, and she's just loud with a potty mouth. Underneath she's like a soft centre, and if anything, I'm the world's worst fisherman. Oh, snakehead. Yeah, I'm probably the opposite. I'm soft exterior. When the tough gets going, that's when Leigh gets going. I think that's a fair assessment myself. I'm going to go back on the old grub again if I miss this next part. I'm going to try really close, really close. So Toon caught the biggest cattler so far. On the pellet, really close. Mind you, if I hook one of them, probably not got enough battery to get it landed before it dies. Come on the cattlers. What the last few days have taught us is how fragile we are. Well, not just the last few days actually, the last year or two with our illnesses, various ailments. Yeah, how fragile we are, and I wouldn't say the lack of backup that we have here. Although 99% of the time it is just me and Toon, we do have Toon's mum who helps get the Lucina with Toon every day. Oh yeah. Took another year off, innit? Even Kaimuk helps with the Katin now. Lex sometimes does that, although okay, sometimes he's not here for a month or two at a time. But Nalur isn't always here. He has to work away when he gets the opportunity in the building trade. He can make more money than he does when he's here, but when he's here we try and make work happen for him. But Nalur is generally here all the time, so you know, he's a pretty reliable guy, trustworthy, so we can use him as and when. And then Toon is well respected in the local village. It wasn't always that case when we first moved back here, and I won't go into the reasons why, but it wasn't anything that Toon had done, but a lot of people had the wrong impression about Toon. But now she's been here 10 years now full time. She came back 10 years ago to help look after her dad, and everyone knows, just about everyone knows her story, and they can see with their own eyes what sort of person she is. Small village communities, if you never lived in them, and I don't just mean out here in rural Thailand, village communities are very, very tight knit. Well, the ones that I've experienced and the people that I've spoken to about that also live in that environment said the same thing. You know, you all pull together. Even when you fall out, you don't burn your bridges, because the next week you might need their help. So even if they've been a bit of a prat, let it go. Try not to hold a grudge. And then yeah, at the end of the day, if someone's been a bit of a wally, certainly me, if I've been a bit of a wally, I know I've been a bit of a wally. You might not admit it till a little bit down the line. But I think most of us know when we've dropped a bit of a clanger, don't we? Alright, let's put these grubs on. I'm still getting mugged, you know. I can safely say, hand on heart, there's nothing I would change about Toon. Oh, actually, I know Thai women are renowned for being jealous, but really, Jesus. Yeah, maybe that one could just throttle back on the jealousy by about 50%. That'd be alright. It's not like I go around the market grabbing women's arses or anything. I'm not even allowed down the market on my own. That is the truth. Giant gourami just came up and took a pellet. When you hook them, quite often they jump clear of the water, so we'll see. Well, we might not see, but they come up so slow. Utter Rodney. Toon did say just before I came out, she goes, "I really fancy fishing today." We haven't fished together for so long, but there's a funeral in the village, and yeah, friend of the family. Well, even when they're not friends of the family, if someone dies in the village, there's always a big turnout anyway. You should go and at the very least hand over your envelope with a few baht in there to help the family. I think Toon's alligator guy's just come up. Flipping hate that thing. This is the thing with our lifestyle now. You know, you've got a flipping great fishing lake here. We love fishing. We love eating fish. And yet, with everything that's been going on, not just recently, but you know, with the goat situation as well, we have very, very little time to do the things that we really love. Back in the UK, we used to play a lot of golf together. We used to go to the East Coast fishing for the bass. We used to go to North Wales, Anglesey, mackerel season, camping, hunter gathering on the in the rock pools and all that sort of thing. No, it's brilliant. And when we first started holidaying out here, coming back to see Toon's family, she had 8 years in the UK with me. Every single year we came back at least once, bar 1 year. Quite often it was twice. We were always straight to the farm. And once we actually took ownership of the farm as well, because this was already in the family name, then yeah, we would do all the sort of like fishing, hunting, foraging, picking wild food, all that sort of stuff. And we hope to get back to that's the long-term goal, but because we've had to do so many things on the farm, you know, we do have to balance the book. So going to take a little while, but we're enjoying it while we do it. I think that's the thing, isn't it? Have your goal where you want to get, but try and enjoy the journey. A lot of us just flog ourselves to death, and like, I'm going to retire. Right, I need another 10 grand, even another 50 grand, blah de blah. It'll be another 5 years. And yeah, we do need a bit of a wedge, don't we? But you know, how much do we really need it? What, talking about your dreams, aren't you? What sacrifices are you prepared to make to accomplish your dreams? Are you prepared to dress like this? Are you prepared to use awful fishing gear because you sold all your match gear and all your carp gear back in the UK?